Welcome to Gotta Run. This is Will Sanchez. Thank you for tuning in. My very special guest today is Jon Phillips. He is a senior manager at New York Roadrunners. I met Jon last year when my crew and I were invited to film an episode of Gotta Run at the Run Center. We did this terrific episode with Coach Anik Lamar on Run for the Future with guest host Isan Smith. Jon was very generous in showing us around, and he crewed for us. Most recently, we reciprocated Jon's kindness by inviting him to guest star right here at Gotta Run with Will. He did this terrific episode with Jeff Benjamin, a running maven from Staten Island. I recommend you drop everything right now and go see it, and then come back here to catch Jon Phillips. I'm honored to have Jon as my guest.
Thank you for having me, Will.
Jon, I must again congratulate you on a terrific episode you did with Jeff Benjamin.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm waiting for the Emmy nomination.
Nominations? Yeah, for Best Talk Show.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that episode because I learned so much about Staten Island and some of its early heroes.
Yes.
Like, who knew about Abel Kivit?
Had no idea.
Oh my God!
But he's a pretty fascinating guy.
And I also love what Jeff brought into the conversation. Not only does he know Staten Island inside out in terms of running, because he is known as the mayor of Staten Island Track and Field. He knows the peripheral, the side stories, like Jim Thorpe was there with Kivett, his roommate. And he knew these guys played baseball, It's amazing.
He's a journalist too, so he catches a few things.
I loved it. Well, thank you again.
Of course.
How long has the Run Center been there? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, the Run Center has been open since January 2017. So we're nearing our 2-year mark.
That's amazing. How long have you been with the Run Center?
I started New York Roadrunners in October of 2016. So just about the same amount of time as the Run Center. I started a few months before.
Okay.
Yeah.
But your position there is really the first because...
It is, yes. It's a completely made-up position specific to runner programming and products. And really just kind of creating different type of educational and training and kind of cultural resources for the greater New York City running community, and focusing and creating this place to be this epicenter of running.
It's quite a mandate. I'm totally impressed. I've been doing this show for about 8 years. And for the first 4 years or so, it's the same show. I sit and talk with a terrific guest. It's only in the last 4 years that I've expanded and doing things like panel discussion, guest host, short little segments that I call moments, and so forth. But you guys, you do every week. There's something on yoga, or there's something on Tai Chi, or there's something on a master series, or there's something on nutrition, or there's something on history of running, or there's a panel discussion where you have the great Gary Corbett come in and talk about his dad, Corbett.
Yep.
So who comes up with all these different segments? Is that you and your staff?
I cannot take full responsibility for it. The inspiration for all that stuff it was kind of like a blank slate, right? So you come in, you have this space, what are you going to do? I've been a runner for a long, long time, since I was 7. So I have, and working in different jobs before this, I just have a general appreciation and curiosity of putting together running events. Putting things together like something like Gary Corbett, right? He's been a long friend of the Roadrunners for a long time. Of course, his dad was the co-founder and president of the Roadrunners. Ted Corbett has the event named after him. Gary reaches out, hey, I want to do an event. And I'm like, perfect. Would love to create something for your dad. And Gary and I chat. We make it happen. We do book clubs and panel chats and all that stuff. I mean, that's just kind of the part of what I appreciate, and the most satisfying thing about my job is being able to create all that stuff and think about it. They have an idea and be able to make it happen.
Terrific. And of course, every time you're successful, the demand for even more comes to you.
Of course.
I was at that Gary Corbett event honoring his Ted Corbett. He had a panel of superstars. Gary Murphy was there.
Yep.
And the other people I didn't know, but I got to know Peter Roth. In fact, from that episode, I invited him to come here.
Oh, that's great.
It was one of my most outstanding episodes with Peter Roth, early pioneer of the Roadrunners Club.
Yes.
All those people were.
Yeah.
I've had Gary Murphy here before. And I remember coming up to you, John, you got to tape these things. This thing is lost to history because there were many, many moments there. But one of the ones that affected me was Gary Murphy came up and he started crying because he couldn't believe standing room only. It's a big space, but still standing room only.
Yeah.
And that people cared to hear about the pioneers. He felt that many of the pioneers, he said, felt forgotten, or not by Gary Corbett. He's trying to keep that legacy alive, to record it. So to see him there, so moved, the man that finished the first New York City marathon, an elder veteran crying because we were there to hear him speak. That moment had to be captured on tape. The good news is, because this is the era of social media.
Yes, we do tape some.
Melanie Elvisley had her iPhone and she did capture it.
Oh, good.
She captured most of it.
Good.
So you can see it on Gary Corbett's webpage. So, but I understand that now you actually record.
We do. We now have not a big broadcast kit, but a nice broadcast kit that we use. And we stream a lot of our stuff on Facebook Live now. So, yeah, I mean, the goal for that is, we're doing baby steps here, So we want to make sure that people are coming and driving traffic into the Run Center and experiencing the Run Center for what it is. But now our goal is to have a global reach so that, we'll see in November how many people from every corner of the earth are going to come to the Run Center, which is going to be super exciting.
I love that shirt.
Thank you.
In fact, I saw that shirt. You guys did an event, Global Running Day. You guys had a bunch of treadmills and run for 24 hours, set a record.
That was a fun thing that we got to do. Speaking of things that I get to think in my head and then actually get to do, I wanted to do a big treadmill relay. And I worked with Guinness World Records to actually create a record, got the parameters set. I know a lot about Guinness World Records now, but there's very specific standards of what you have to do. We ended up doing you had to do 250 miles with 250 people. You had to run 1 mile consecutively, and everybody had to run at least a 9:41 pace. So we did just that, and it took 36 hours, and we had 250 people do it. We unfortunately had one person just fall off the treadmill, which upset our chance to actually have that record. But it was still an incredible event. And yes, I was the 249th mile of that, and I wore this.
Next to the last.
This is the, if you are around the NYRR Roadrunners office and you ask people about John's Global Running Day T-shirt, they will remember this one.
I know, it got a lot of likes, the shirt. It got more likes than
iconic.
you did. I said, well, what is it about that shirt?
The shirt transcends the man. Yeah.
Let's introduce you to our audience. Tell us where you were born and something about your growing up years.
I was born in a really small town called Califon, New Jersey, and it is a 1,000-person town. It's 1 square mile. I graduated my 8th grade with 26 kids in my class. My brother graduated with 9. So when I say small, it is extremely small. It was like a very idyllic place to grow up. It's in Northwest New Jersey, kind of in the woods. It kind of lacked a little bit of worldview and perspective because it was a little bit of a bubble. Think of like Pleasantville almost, and that's kind of why I enjoy being in New York now. Kind of get out of that a little bit. But it was great. I played a lot of different sports growing up, but I started running when I was 7, and I really haven't looked back since.
7. Do you remember your first race at that age?
I do, yeah. My dad was a runner, so he would go out for jogs, and sometimes I'd ride the bike with him, and occasionally go out for a light jog, but he never really kind of pushed or anything to get me to run. We were at this race in Far Hills, New Jersey. It's called the Midland Run. I think it might still exist, but he was going out to run the 5K, and there was a kids race and stuff, and I said, Dad, I want to run the race. He's like, yeah, you got the kids race, go run the kids race. I was like, no, I want to run the 5K.
Oh,
and he's like okay. And I think about it now, I was actually thinking about this earlier, is he was training, he was geared up and ready for it, and he could have just said, you know what, I think you can just do the kids race. But that's a pretty nice dad thing to do, to say, all right, come on, jump in, we'll see how it goes, and kind of ditch the effort that he was going to put in to run a fast race. But I feel like that's kind of what dads want to do, right? They want to.
Yeah, they taste you for the.
And I remember one of the we're kind of going through the race, and there was somebody on the side with a megaphone, and he sees me kind of, and we're doing pretty decent, like decent pace. And he's like, "Oh my God, how old are you?" My dad's like, "He's 7." And he's like, "Not a 7-year-old on the course."
He's now your PR agent.
Yeah, exactly. He's always been my PR agent. Yeah, we finished that race, and then from there I did some middle school track, ran in high school, ran in college, ran post collegiately. So that was kind of the catalyst for all this stuff. And it's kind of incredible to think running has brought me to where I am today.
Wow.
Yeah.
So where did you go to college?
I went to NYU.
Oh,
Yeah.
right here in the city.
Right here in the city. Yep.
Ooh, what did you major in?
I majored in communications and Spanish.
Espanol.
Yeah.
How's your Spanish?
It's not great now. Yeah. One of those use it, you lose it, don't you? Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's good enough. I'm going to Spain actually at the end of the month. So
I
maybe
was going to recommend the best way to relearn it
yes,
is
go back.
to go to a Spanish country.
Yeah.
Like Spain would be perfect because I think they teach that version of Spanish.
Yes, but I'm going to Barcelona, so I don't even know. They speak Catalan there, so who knows what the Spanish will do.
Well, communications. That involved like a media work?
It's like media, marketing, advertising. I took like a bunch of different classes,
Oh,
yeah.
cool. That's certainly apropos for what you're doing now.
It works now, yeah.
Okay. So after college, you probably, or your family wanted you to decide on a career for yourself.
Yes.
What was the plans?
It's exactly that. I graduated college, and they're like, "You should get a job, right?" So I was pretty hard set on just getting any job, and I was interviewed for a bunch of different stuff, and I got a job at this recruiting firm. It was like a technical recruiting firm, just because it was a job, and it was kind of pitched to me like, hey, you'll be helping people get jobs. And I was like, I can get behind that, right? Helping people. What it really was me sitting in a chair on the phone with my boss literally sitting right in front of me. And I'm cold calling, I guess like HR reps to figure out like holes, or like open positions. And it seemed really invasive. And I literally remember my then boss, I'm being coached through this talk while another person's on, and he's telling me exactly what to say, and the person's on the other line saying, "Is somebody telling you exactly what to say?" Well, I lasted 5 days there. 5 days, 5 business days. I went out to lunch with my boss then, and I ate a $25 cheeseburger. It was at some like fancy steak joint, and I said, I don't think I can do this anymore. Went back, signed some paper. I was out.
Oh.
It was a great learning lesson because it really made that again was like another catalyst of the understanding that I can't do things that I'm just not fully passionate about. And it really kind of steered me towards understanding that, hey, I really like running. At that point, I was potentially pursuing that professionally, actually running. And I thought, hey, like, how can I intertwine what I really love in life and a professional goal?
Yeah. And so what was the next step?
I started working with, I did some stuff in college with Nike Running. With their outsourced agency, MKTG. And they did all the marketing activations in the city for Nike.
Nike Town.
Nike Town, yeah.
I ran for Nike Town for a while.
Yeah, I did. I probably saw you there, Will. Many years ago now.
Paul Leone,
Paul was my boss.
Paul was your boss?
Yes.
What a great guy.
He's a great guy.
I cannot get him to sit in that chair.
No?
No, I'm going to count on you.
Yeah,
Make a phone call.
All
right. What a small world.
Yes.
That was a great and made Nike Town running.
It was almost kind of like a run center before the run center.
That's right. It was the run center before. It had everything. Yeah. It was the first ones where they gave stuff away. What's Nike spelled backwards?
Eakin.
The Eakins, I remember.
Yeah. Yep.
They knew Nike inside out. They would test us and give away stuff.
Yeah.
And they would have special guests like Lance Armstrong when he was very popular those days.
I think I worked on that. I started working with them about 2008. And I did a lot of that stuff. I can't remember if I did the Lance event or not. But my primary job is actually I managed their running van that went all over the East Coast to all these different high schools and summer running camps.
Kevin Stark must have been one of you guys.
Well, come on, of course I know Kevin.
It's funny, I remember Kevin, he lived in that van practically.
Yes.
It's a small world.
Yes, it's a very small world.
And the coach at that time, they have several. Jonathan Kane.
Yep.
Those days, Like, yeah, there was the run center at that era.
Yeah.
It's long gone because, they closed shop. I don't think Nike Town does any more runs anymore.
No, I don't know if they do anything out of their Flatiron, but yeah, Nike Town is gone now
Yeah,
from
but
57.
we got the run
We have
center.
the Run Center now. Well,
Okay, so
let's look
after
to the future here.
after your great stint at Nike, what happened then?
So I did that for about a year, and I actually saved up enough money to. This is a non-mom approved moment where I said, "Hey, I had a good college career. I actually ended up being a few-time All-American, and our team actually ended up winning the NCAA championship for cross country at NYU. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It's cool because I started when I was a freshman. It was the first time we ever made it to the NCAA championship. And then it was actually my 5th year. I came back for another year. We ended up winning the NCAA championship for cross country.
congrats.
Thank you. But so after that, I still had some running goals that I wanted to pursue, and decided, you know what, if I don't do it now, I wasn't getting any younger. I'd give it a shot. So I literally I left the job with MKDG and just started training full time. And
As a semi-pro, as a professional?
pro, I didn't have any like sponsorships. I was
Okay.
running with the New York Athletic Club, so they were helping me out.
Oh, that's a very prestigious
Yeah.
club.
Yeah.
It's hard to get in too, so they obviously saw talent.
I like to think so. Yeah.
Absolutely, they're very, very picky.
Yes, I just started trying to train full time, and I went down to Florida for a little bit. In the summer, I went out to Mammoth Lakes and did some altitude training. And really, 8 months later or so, I started not having any more money. And I said, all right, what am I going to do? And that's actually my Nick McDonough, the NYU coach, was still coaching me. And he said, hey, why don't you be the assistant coach there? So then I started my time as being an assistant coach at NYU.
Okay, so you retired from competitive running, but I think it did something really interesting, an endurance run with 4 other guys. Tell us about that.
I did, yeah. As my competitive running career came to a close, that was about like 2012, 2013-ish. You kind of transition into this weird transition because running for me had really defined me, and being a competitive runner was so important. And every single goal that I had in my life was really connected to running. And once you kind of lose that, you start transitioning to like, okay, what am I going to do next as a goal-oriented person? And I transitioned that more towards professional career. So I started working with Brooks Running, and on the running side, it kind of fell to the wayside. And I'm like, well, I got to figure out something else to challenge me. Knowing now, okay, I did 90, 100 miles a week. I'm not going to run much faster. So what's another way to challenge myself? And ultra running seems to be kind of a good way to test another limit as opposed to trying to go as fast as you can. So I had a friend from Brooks, actually, that had done this crazy run in the Grand Canyon where you run from the South Rim to the North Rim and then back to the South Rim. It's called rim to rim to rim. When I first heard it, I'm like, that's absolutely insane. Who would ever do that? And then when I started thinking about another way to challenge, I said, I've always actually wanted to go to the Grand Canyon. And what better way than to go and run every single step of it? So in April of 2017, last year, I had 4 friends. I somehow recruited them to go, and we ran from the South Kaibab Trail to the North Kaibab and then back on Blue Angel. And ended up being about 47 miles, and the elevation change is about 20,000 feet. It's an unbelievable challenge, and really one of really honestly the coolest thing I've ever done in my life.
Wow. How long was it?
14 hours or so.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty quick.
It was decent.
47,
Yeah.
Especially when you got to go up and down.
Yes. Yeah. They're all runners from college, so we all had good running pedigree. But we kind of took our time. We had a little bit of an obstacle where we needed to get past a specific bridge because there was work being done on it, which made a little bit more drama and a dramatic element to the run.
Oh,
which
so
is
you
exciting.
had a time element.
We had a time element where we had to get up and
That was
back.
part of the deal? You you're going to do this race, but you got to know you got to be at this
Well, it's
grid.
not even a race. You just go and you do it.
Okay.
Yeah, you just say, all right, I'm going to get up and do it this day. And, yeah, so.
Well, you got to sign up for it, right?
No.
No, really?
Just go and you do it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So how
and
cool
PS,
is
I don't
that?
think the National Park System doesn't necessarily like runners doing it, but a lot of runners do it.
Oh, so that means you had to carry your own stuff. There was going to be crew somewhere.
Everything. Carry it
Oh
all.
my! What was the temperature like when you got that kind of elevation?
Yeah, so we started at about 38 or so. Yeah, nice and cool.
Nice.
Because you start at 7,200 feet, so you're
Probably
up
in the middle
air.
of the night or something.
Yeah. We started at 2:30 in the morning, and then once you get into the canyon, though, it raises up a little bit. So on our way back, it was about 85 degrees.
Oh, you really toast.
Yeah. So you start off with the jacket, then you had to peel the jacket.
Now,
yeah.
Was there any altitude sickness? I mean, because I remember when I was in high altitude, it was tough to breathe.
It most definitely was. We luckily, some people had some experience with altitude before, so there wasn't any sickness. But the North Rim was at 8,200 feet. So once you start climbing up that, you can definitely feel that.
Did you feel it?
Absolutely, yeah. I actually created a podcast about it, so it chronicles our time there, and it's a lot of breathy running because yeah.
So that's so cool. So you recorded it. I think you had a nifty name for it, the Rim Boys.
The Rim Boys, yep.
The 5 of you with an epic 14 hours. That is amazing. You can do that quickly.
Yeah.
You said it's approximately 46, 47 miles?
47 miles. There's a little bit of add-ons, but typically it's 45.
This is the rim. So you're running like the perimeter.
No, you're
looking down.
You're running in.
You run inside.
Into the canyon, up, and then back in, and then out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there must have been a few trails where you're going, oh, if you step the wrong way.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And from here to there, you look down, and it's thousands of feet.
Well, wait a minute. You started at 2:30 in the morning, so obviously you had headlamps. So you're running in the dark?
Yeah. And there's actually a part in the podcast where the headlamp looks over, and you can't see it, you hear it, and you hear me giggle very, very, very scarily. Yeah, because you see it and you look down and it's thousands of feet, and you're like, oh, don't step there.
I heard it, the rim, but I didn't realize it was a voluntary. I think they have a special name for a badass or something, where you do a race that's not sanctioned.
Yeah. It's probably badass.
Or smart ass. I'm going to have to look it up.
Yeah.
But it does sound badass.
It does sound badass.
So that was an epic. I remember this for the rest of your lives.
I will. Yeah, and the goal for the next run is we were potentially going to do Mount Rainier. So that's like to go all the way around Mount Rainier, and that's a 93-mile run.
Oh, why not? It's all a little fun.
Yeah, of course. So that's potentially next.
14 hours. So your college friends. I mean, you must have even bonded even closer together.
Absolutely.
I mean,
that's what's incredible about running. Running has given me so much, and it's given me so many friendships from college. And there's these different experiences that you don't get from sitting at a restaurant and grabbing a beer or something. It transcends that, and that's what's really special about those experiences. And hopefully we'll have more.
Any challenges locally?
I still haven't run the Boston Marathon, and I would like to run that.
Got to qualify.
Yeah, try to qualify.
But that means you got to have to do a race before it, right, to qualify.
Right. Yeah.
They don't count the ones you did.
I know.
Whatever.
Yeah, those ones are in the back. Yeah, I know. I got to train and try to qualify for that. So that'd be something on the list.
At your age, probably 3:30. What is it?
No, I'm 34, so it's 3:05 or 3 flat or something like that.
That's a tough standard. 3:05. Wow.
Yeah.
This is Boston.
Yeah.
I guess I'm thinking female. I had a lot of female runners.
Yeah.
And it's always like 3:30, 4. I said, man, that was reasonable.
Yeah.
Women get this half hour.
Yeah.
I don't know. They seem to be tougher than the men.
That's true.
Well, good luck on that. And then, what's some of the great events you're coming up on the Run Center that you can talk about?
September 8th, we're doing this thing called the NYRR Runner Con. So no Comic-Con. We're doing a runner convention, a little bit smaller than Comic-Con. But the idea is to really create like a time and space to celebrate running and running culture. So we're going to have a really, really good cast of panelists and all these people coming in to talk about running. We're going to have an incredible pro field from the New Balance Fifth Avenue Mile. We're going to talk with Gabe Grunwald and a Sloan Memorial Kettering doctor from the Exercise Oncology Department to talk about Gabe's challenges and her story of being a 4-time cancer survivor and how she's battled that through running. Casey Neistat, he's a YouTube content creator, has millions, billions of views, I think. He's a runner and he absolutely loves running. He's going to come and talk about running and filmmaking and how he uses running to kind of creatively fuel his process. We are going to actually put together, I think, a New Balance footwear innovation chat. So it's really going to focus on just creating great conversations and stuff all about running, and hopefully try to continue to grow it.
It will definitely grow.
yeah.
So is this a multi-day event?
It's just one day, September 8th, Saturday, September 8th. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have tons of different stuff, particularly for marathon. We're going to have lots of marathon programming to make sure that everybody's excited, prepared, educated, and ready to go for the day and for that big day in November.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, any final words?
One thing that has really guided me through my career and stuff is just being focused on kind of following my passion. So I'm big on whatever that is for anybody, and if for me it's running, for another person it could be music, whatever. But I'm always an advocate for making people or helping people and pushing people to follow their dream and follow their passion. So that's always the goal.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Follow the dream.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Will.